Hey, real estate besties. Today is Tuesday, and around here, that means that we are answering your burning questions. Now, I don't care if it's about a deal that you're working, just a question on how to organize something in your business, or if you just want to dish with your good real estate bestie, I am here to answer your questions. Now, if you have a question, head on over to rosemarylewis.com/ask, and you will be able to leave a voicemail and I will answer your question on the podcast. Let's get into our question for today. Hey besties. Okay, today's question comes from Shay, our real estate bestie in North Carolina. And Shay says, okay, I am struggling because people are crazy. I need to know, how do you protect yourself as an agent? I do not want to come up on the missing woman's list. Okay, I chuckled a little bit because missing woman, like that's totally something that I would have said. I don't know if there is a missing woman's list, but listen, Shay, you are very, very correct just to be thinking through, okay, how do we take care of yourself? How do you protect yourself? Because this is definitely a profession where you might end up working with a stranger, right? And unfortunately, we do live in a world where everyone's intentions are not always pure, and we have to just really take some measures to protect ourselves. So the very first thing that I would say is that, y'all, even if I get somebody by referral, if I have someone who was referred to me, I want you to go through the proper precautions to properly pre-qualify that person, and not just pre-qualify them in the sense of getting them with the lender, but making sure, right, that you are clear on who they are and do as much as you can. So there are different apps and things that can help you. One of the apps that I use are Forewarn. And with these different apps, you can put in somebody's phone number and, it can search their background and things like that from their phone number. Something else that I do is before I meet somebody in person, 9 times out of 10, we have had some sort of, like, let's just say it's a buyer. We have done a Zoom consultation before I meet you. And when I do my buyer's consultation, I do it over Zoom. And part of what I do is just like, if you've ever done a lease, a landlord is going to always ask for a copy of their ID. So when I send over the buyer representation agreement, because I am in a state that, and my brokerage does require that we have buyer representation agreements, and it's just great practice to do, I'll just say, hey, and if you could shoot me over a copy of your ID. I also like to take it a step further, and this is where your preferred lender comes in. Because if that person has gone to your preferred lender, gotten credit pull, we know work history, like we have all this background information. And 9 times out of 10, if someone isn't willing to do one or all of these steps, then that is where the red flag will come up, because I'm just looking for ways to secure myself. So if we can, I'm thinking of one time I had somebody tell me they found me somewhere random. They want to buy a house for $5 million, but like they never want to hop on Zoom, or they weren't able to validate any of the information. And you know what? If he was a $5 million buyer, I'm never going to find out, because his behavior was not in alignment with someone who I felt like would be, if they were real, what they would do. So definitely taking those measures to pre-qualify and make sure that you're comfortable. But now what about if you go on a listing appointment, right? When I go on a listing appointment, just again, make sure someone always knows where you are. My husband and I, when I got into real estate, that is when we downloaded the Life 360 app, because at all times he knows exactly where I am. I am also known to show up at a listing appointment with a real estate bestie, and when I'm taking the appointment, hey, great, thank you so much. I can't wait to see you tomorrow. It will be myself and that other person might be my, an agent on my team. Or when I was first starting out, my husband or my friend might be in the car waiting for me, especially if it was an area that I wasn't familiar with. Okay. And then let's talk about open house safety, or just when you're showing houses in general, y'all, because you could be with your client, right? And your client is clutch, they're fine, but we want to make sure that we are putting safety precautions in place. So definitely, I'm going to encourage you not to be showing vacant houses late at night, things like that. I'm also going to encourage you to lock the door behind you. A lot of times realtors don't do this, right? I have even been in a situation where like I have gone to show a house and the realtor has like left the key box with the key, like they're inside showing, but they've left the key with the key box outside the door. And what you are doing is that you are giving like a predator ample opportunity to take that key and lock you and them inside that house, right? So definitely when I go and I show a house, I lock the door behind me. And I am never, this is even with open houses, I am never going to be in a space like, for instance, I'm not going to be showing you a house where my back is towards the exit and you can block me in. So I am always making sure that, no, after you, no, seriously, after you, I'm going to go after you. I'm going to go up the stairs after you. I'm going to always make sure that I have a clear exit. And then y'all, even down to, I remember when I was doing open houses, even down to like the shoes that I would wear, I would always wear pumps that I could easily kick off, because if I needed to use that pump as a weapon, that heel on that pump as a weapon, I wanted to easily be able to do that. Okay. And then of course, there are other things that you can do, safety measures. If you are comfortable with carrying, I'm going to encourage you to just look into what those laws are around you. And if you are in a state where you can conceal and carry, that definitely may be something that you want to consider. And I know everyone's comfort level with that looks different. I know when I first started, I went to my realtor board and y'all, they had these pens, and the pen, it looked like an ink pen from the outside, but it was actually mace. And that's something that I often kept with me so that, from the outside looking in, just be careful with things like that, because like I said, it looked like an ink pen from the outside. So if a child got a hold of it, then, it wouldn't be pretty, right? But all in all, just make sure that, you keep your spidey senses up. If it doesn't feel right, if someone is not willing to, to send over their ID, to give you the information, to let you know exactly who's going to be home, or even if you arrive to an appointment and you feel uncomfortable, please, please, please use your best judgment and get out of there. There is zero commission worth your life. Okay. So definitely take every single precaution that you can in order to be safe out here in these real estate streets. And I do definitely recommend that you share your location. Like, make sure that someone always knows where you are and where you are going, so that they can be looking for you, right? They can be looking for you to be back, to be giving them a call after that appointment, and just ensure that. So I hope this was helpful, besties. Of course, if you have a question, go ahead and hit us up. You can send us an email, you can slide in our DMs, or you can always go to rosemarylewis.com/ask. Okay? Talk to you soon.